Okay, so we will continue about the packet loss and the packet delay occur. Also, how do the packet delay and the loss occurs? First, you can see the package from computer A and computer B, and when we send a destination from the source to the destination, actually it's like the queue. So package a queue in the router buffer. For example, it's like this one is buffer. So it's router, the source router, like gateway, sent to the other router. So when this router, we have the packet sent to from A and B. But how to know the order? So we need a buffer, a packet queue in this buffer. So we need a waiting for the turn for the transmission. So it's in order for the turn. Basically, the queue length goes when the arrival rate to link, which means the queue length. This one is called the queue length, right? But queue length, how is the buffer is how much or how many the buffer in this router. It based on the queue length. The queue length is the thing goes when the arrival rate is to the link temporarily. So extending the output link capacity, right? Okay. So it's based on the extending the output link capacity. So which means the condition is the output link the capacity. And the second is about which means the transmission will be lost. When the packet loss occurs, based on when the memory hold the queue packet fill up. For example, if the queue the buffer already fill up, then somehow it needs a packet loss, right? So if a packet in the queue is very full, then what happens? It means will be the packet loss. So we need to consider the queue buffer, and we need to consider the link rate and how can we the output and input. We need to consider balance. And on the other way, we also consider the buffer size. It's whole the design. When we design the routing buffer, we have to consider it. So you can see the packet being transmitted. It should be the transmission delay, right? Delay is for what? For output. For output, we need to receiver completely. And also the packet in the buffer is a queue delay. When this is a transmission delay, then queuing buffer should be delayed. So it's a freer available buffer arriving the packet and the drop or loss if no freer buffer. Okay. So how can we evaluate the packet delay for source? Okay. The same is a transmission here from the computer A and from the computer B. The propagation in this router. And this the nodal processing queue. So it's a queue, and here is nodal processing. So nodal actually the delay. The total delay should be propagation delay plus queue delay and plus transmission delay and plus propagation delay, right? It's the same concept because the total delay is these four sources, right? It's propagation, right? Then plus queuing delay, right? And plus transmission and plus the nodal. So it's a transmission is from here to here. So we need to consider propagation from here to here. So it should be some packet delay. On the other is the second is the transmission. It's a transmission link rate, right? So also have some delay here. And the queue buffering delay and the nodding process delay. This whole the phone source consider the packet delay. So processing the nodal processing, how do we need to check? First is check a bit error, right? Because this one from A and between A and B, we need to send to the queue. And the nodal processing, first step is check a bit error. And the second is determine the output link. Right? It's the upper link rate and the upper link propagation and determine the output link. And also typical is the it should be the propagation, the nodal delay should be normally, typically should be less than the microseconds because it's based on the networking, the transmission speed. So normally the typical is less than the microseconds. Okay. And if we consider the delay of queue, the queuing delay, first is timing waiting at output link and for the transmission. Because we have to consider for the transmission, then the queue is waiting, right? The queue timing waiting based on the output, right? So how is the queue buffer? And when it's very full, then the output is quick, then we can go quick. If output is very slow, then the queue in the time waiting should be very slow. So it's very similar like our traffic, right? For example, like a tunnel, if we output, the tunnel traffic is very heavy. Actually, in the tunnel, it should be the time waiting. The second is about depend on the congestion level of the router, right? It makes sense, right? I talk about it's very similar to the traffic. That's why we can say is when the output tunnel is very congestion, it's a traffic heavy, then the tunnel and the queuing should be congestion. Okay, so it depends on the congestion level of the router. And how about the transmission delay, the D of the trans? The transmission, if the transmission length is very long and the transmission is very short, it should be different, right? If transmission very long, propagation, it should be very long delay. If transmission very short, it should be very quick. So it's based on the L is packet length and about the transmission rate. So we have to consider how many size of the packet length of the bit. The other is also need to consider the link transmission rate, the bit per second. So totally the transmission delay is the equation is the D of trans equal L over R. It's the packet length over the link transmission rate. Because it's bit, right? Packet length is bit. So bit per second. Rate is bit per second. So transmission of delay change to the unit is for time, right? Because bit and bit is cancel. So it's equal to the second. The other, the propagation delay is about the typical is we talk about the length of the physical link. So it's a talk about the D of propagation delay. The length of physical link. So it's based on the physical link, the length, right? So we just say is the link is very long. It should be the long delay, right? So this propagation length is propagation length is is related to the D. Because the length is long, it should be the long delay. And the D over propagation speed is talk about the traffic quick on this length or slow. So it's a propagation delay is a D over S. So you can consider is a transmission of the actually is L over R. It's a big length. Consider a big length. Transmission we talk about consider a big packet length. It's based on the packet. But the propagation, this one is propagation, right? This is transmission. Propagation is based on what? It's based on the physical length. So it's very, very different. Transmission, we talk about the packet. It's packet behavior. It's packet length and the link transmission rate. So we talk about transmission. It's behavior about the packet. But the propagation is based on the physical layer. It's physical link and the physical length and the physical speed. So it's very, very different. The point is transmission, we talk about packet behavior. But propagation, we talk about the physical behavior. Okay, understand? We need to clarify. Transmission, we talk about the packet. But propagation, we talk about the physical behavior. Okay. So if you understand the transmission and the propagation, then we can start about the real internet delay and load. So what do we consider real internet delay or the loss look like? Actually, it's a tracing load programming. We can provide a delay measurement from the source to the router analog end to end internet path toward destination for each and all I. For example, you can see the sense3 packet line will reach router I, right? We send the 3 packet here from and reach router I, and on path forward destination, which means with time to live field vary over the I, right? It's the time of life field, the value of I. Then now the I will return the packet to sender, right? So it's a return the packet and to the sender. And the sender measure the time interval between the transmission and the reply. So sender measure the time interval between the transmission and the reply. Reply from who? Reply from the receiver. Okay. So we send each router. We say each router, and time to live field of I and the packet return and check the packet return to the sender. So which means a round trip, right? We send this 3 packet problem and return, and we send the same this router and return, right? And we also can check packet loss. So packet aka buffer proceeding link in buffer has a final capacity. Each router actually is buffer is finite. So the computer A and the computer B, we send a buffer. So we talk about the buffer need a waiting area here, right? The packet being transmitted when here, then we transmit it. So it's based on the output traffic and the queuing, the waiting congestion of the traffic. So buffer is based on this one, the waiting area. We need a waiting here. If this tunnel is can be transmitted and the packet is sent out. So you can see the packet arriving to the full queue, it should be the drop or aka loss, right? If this packet sent to from B, then you can see is the buffer already full. Then what happened? This packet, the B packet sent out this packet. The packet arriving to the full buffer should be lost. So it cannot fill in this buffer because this buffer, the queue is already full. So B will be the lost packet. So the lost packet may be the retransmitted, right? Because this one packet already lost. So B should be retransmitted by the previous mode and by the source and system, or not at all. So actually, we can check. You can Google any the packet loss. Actually the behavior is the same animation. And what do we mean the throughput? Throughput actually is based on the rate. The rate, how can we call the definition the rate? Rate means a bits per time unit. So at which the bits are being sent from the sender to receiver, right? The bits here from the sender to the receiver, from the sender to the receiver. So we can talk about the throughput, which means from the sender to the receiver, we call the throughput. And the throughput is the same definition, is a rate. What do we mean rate? Is bits per time unit. So throughput, throughput have two definitions. One is instantaneous, the other is called average. Instantaneous is rate at a given point in time, right? It's very straightforward. And the average, we talk about the rate over a long period of time, right? Yeah, very straightforward. So you can see the server with the file of the 5-bit, right? The 5-bit, the field of this file, and it's from to sender to the client. And the link capacity, the rate is RS, bit per second, and the capacity we can call is throughput. And the throughput is instance and the average. Instance we told it at a given time, and the average we can say is the average the period of time. Then it's from the source link capacity, and also is from the link capacity of the output router to the other computer. So the capacity, the throughput, we can say is a server send a bit, right? It's a flow like a pipe, right? It's very similar like the flow into this pipe, and the pipe had a carrier fluid at the rate, right? So you like some fluid or water feed in this tunnel or pipe. And the rate is RS a bit per second. And the same is maybe the very thin pipe, and this is very thick pipe, right? The thin pipe go to the thin pipe. And here is RS, right? It's a rate, the full end rate RS. And the sink pipe, the sink pipe is a carry through and rate RC, right? It's a sink pipe. So RC is larger than the RS because it's a sink pipe. The flow from here and to the sink pipe. So the throughput, I just say the RS smaller than the RC. What is the average end-to-end throughput from here to here? Because you can see it's a different array, right? Different throughput. Because it's the source to the in-between router and to the destination. And it should be the sync pipe. So how can we calculate the average of end-to-end throughput? And the other question is, if the R is larger than the RC, is a sync pipe, right? It should be the possible, right? Like a fiber end-to-end to home, and to the router, then to the other computer, right? So the R is a sync pipe, the RC is small pipe. So the flow from here go to here, then the R is larger than the RC. R is larger than the RC. What do we mean the end-to-end average the throughput? So the link on the end-to-end path that constrain the end-to-end throughput, right? So the link on the end-to-end path actually is constrain end-to-end throughput. So how can we see? Is throughput the network scenario is a different scenario, is us from the different the server. The RC is from the client, right? The different kind. Then the counting should be the big R, the sync R. The 10 connection, the ferry shell, the backbone. This one we call cloud, which means we call the backbone. Here, the backbone. The backbone, the bottleneck, which means the backbone, the pi of R, this one. So it's based on this link, the link rate. Okay. You can fully understand this from the different clients sent to different pi and the different rate, and the eyes, the server sent to the different data. It should be here the bottleneck. So the Q of the R of the backbone should be the design by the management, right? By the designer should be the design is R throughput. If R is very small, the backbone is very efficient. So based on the per connection end-to-end throughput, the minima the ruler is RC here and the R's here. Then the R over 10, the minima, should be the equal. So in practice, the RC or R's is often the bottleneck, right? Because actually we can design a big R in the backbone. So when the from the R's download the file to the RC, to the client, then the RC or the R's change to the bottleneck very often. And on the other topic, we all very focus on the network security. The internet actually is not the original design with very much security in the mind because it's open system. So original version is a group of the virtually the trusting user attached to the transparent network. So the IP network original version actually is very transparent. And the internet protocol design is playing catch up. Okay. And the security consideration is all the layers. So we now need to think about how bad guy can attack computer network. And how we can define network against attack. And how to design the architecture that are immune to attack. So bad guy, the packet interception, right? The bad guy, we somehow he will onto the packet interception. The packet sniffing. So when we have a broadcasting media, share the internet, the wireless. Okay. So permissionally the network interface, the read and the records all the packet. For example, like include the password and passing by here. A, B want to send to A. The B is the source, A is the destination. But somehow, is the bad guy want to the sniffing the packet from the B to the A, right? The payload packet, the bad guy. So we have the Wireshark software used for our end-to-end to check what happened in this behavior. We already delivered the Wireshark. It's very useful tool. So also we can practice the Wireshark in the how to win end-to-end about this one. So bad guy is a fake identity. The IP spoofing is the injection of the packet with the false source address. So it's a false source address sent to the false source address. Original source address should be the B, right? But it should be the change the spoofing, which means a fake source B, and send to destination the packet here, talk to A, and want to get the result. So the bad guy, the Daniel of the service, we can call the DOS, is Daniel of service. The attackers make loud resource server and bandwidth unavailable to legitimate traffic by the overwhelming the resource with the bogus traffic. You can see the target here, select the target, and all the bad guy here, and break into the host along the network, see the bottleneck. And then they send the packet to the target, right? We send a lot of packet to the target from the compromised host. So we can see the lines of the defense. How can we defend? First is about authentication, which means providing you are who you say you are, right? So who you say you are, and prove it. And in cellular network, provide a hardware identification like a SIM card, right? When you use a mobile phone, you should be the identified and the input the password about the SIM card password. And there's no such hardware assistance in the traditional internet. Second, about the confidentiality is via the encryption. And the third is about integrity checks. The digital signature prevent and detect tampering. Okay. For example, if you send an email from the A to B, it should be the integrity, right? You can change the email content. We call the integrity. So if we want to make sure the integrity the check, the technical way is we can use the digital signature. It can prevent and detect the tampering. And also we can access registration and password protect VPN. And also we can use a firewall, right? It's specialized the middle box in access and the core network of by default the filter incoming packet to the registration center. we can design the filter incoming packet to specifically restrict the sender and the receiver application, and also can detecting the reacting to the DOS attacks. So here, the protocol layer and the reference model we can see is network actually is very complex and with many pieces. So it relates to host and routers and link of various medias, and also related to applications and what kind of protocols and about the hardware and the software. So we can say the question, is there any how of organizing the structure of network and all our discussion about the network? Okay, later we can have an example of organization of air transport for the discuss the last page.